So being a gamer, I mean, the VR is I think it's awesome for games, and it's awesome for that travel. It's the way to take you someplace that isn't where you are. Augmented reality is going to improve where you are.
Greg, are you real? Okay, you are real. If you couldn't guess, we're going to talk about VR and AR today. This is Greg DeCamp, who is a product manager for AR and VR at Xperi. How are you, Greg?
I'm very well, Yue. How are you?
I'm great. You know, VR was just all the talk,
Yes.
2 or 3 years ago. Do you see a mass adoption to it?
There is been a pretty strong adoption. I think what you're seeing is a settling industry-wide. I think you're seeing a settling of the major platforms. HTC Vive, they're announcing a couple of new headsets that are on display here. The Oculus Rift, the PlayStation VR.
Okay, what are some of the major trends this year?
I think you're going to see a lot of what's called inside-out tracking, where the day one VR systems required external cameras or external trackers for either sitting scale or room scale VR experiences, where the new ones actually on the goggles themselves have cameras that look out that keep your position. And I think that's going to be a big change, where a couple of years ago was the birth of VR. It's kind of the baptism of VR in that I think it's going to be able to drive much better adoption. I think it's much more engaging because people can actually move around in a space.
So when we're talking about, like, I keep hearing 6 degrees of freedom, what does that mean?
So there's two phrases. There's 3 degrees of freedom and 6 degrees of freedom. Where 3 degrees of freedom, you're seated, 1, 2, 3. 6 degrees of freedom adds translation to that. So you can literally move around and really lean in. If you're looking at something virtually, you can get in really close to it. Where again, the more expensive systems that had the cameras looking at you, the Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive with their setup, those cameras were required for 6 degrees of freedom. But it's these new goggles that have basically the cameras built into the HMD, the headset, that look outward, so you can get 6 degrees of freedom anywhere. You don't need to have this elaborate setup.
Got it. Okay. What other trends are you seeing?
AR. AR is coming into the forefront. You're seeing a number of wearables out there. Some of the bigger companies are holding their products a little closer to the vest. There at shows like this, they would either be in meeting rooms or private demos. So this right here is a pair of glasses that we're working with ODG on. So it's a standalone, fully contained wearable that will give you an AR experience.
And how is this different from previous iterations of it?
They're becoming more capable. You're seeing technologies show up or get more mature. So things like depth, three-dimensional audio, improving speaker sound, just the fact that they're getting lighter. It's really starting to come together to give consumers or even enterprise level a fully standalone device that doesn't have to be tethered.
And for that fully immersive experience, I want to be untethered, but I also want to believe in the image that I'm seeing. So resolution is a big deal. Are we seeing better resolution this year?
Yeah, we're seeing better resolution. We're seeing full color. But again, at the end of the day, something like a standalone device like this will give very good graphics. But if you're able to be tethered to a belt PC that's got a dedicated video card or some sort of processing on there, like a GPU, that will only improve things.
And from sort of a consumer perspective, because I'm really curious about this, we were watching the Samsung stand, with the roller coaster or the skiing that they were doing, and this one woman had her mouth open. She was screaming the entire time. How immersive do people really want VR to be? How real do they want it to be?
I think that's their expectation, is that they will become very immersed in that experience. And that's where 6 degrees of freedom adds to that. That's where higher resolution, higher graphics, better density on the displays, so you don't get what's called the screen door effect. I think that people who are into VR and they want to be adopters of VR and users of VR, they want to be taken somewhere else.
In terms of Xperi and
Yes.
the VR, AR components and technology, our show is called Take the Lead, which is a play on words on Take the Lead. What would taking the lead on VR and AR mean to you?
So I think being in thought leadership, Xperi is well positioned. So Xperi being a house of brands, there are a few brands that really feed into this space. So we have our Invensys brand that does semiconductor packaging and chip development, which is going to be really key for products like this so that algorithms and technologies can run at a low power consumption and fast and lower power consumption. That is a great way that we'll be a thought leader. And then additionally, we have the audio piece, which is DTS. Three-dimensional audio is absolutely paramount. They say it's 50-50 audio and visuals. Some will say it's actually, higher for audio because there's so many things happening around you that you can't see. You need that audio to cue you that there's something over here, something of interest.
Right.
And then finally, with our PhotoNation suite of products, whether it's iris detection, so you're wearing a pair of AR glasses, you put it on, oh hey, this is my preferences, you put them on, you get your preferences, because how do you log in? How do you log in? There's no keyboard, there's no, you don't press the things.
And I don't want to be calibrating with my finger here.
So once you've identified, you've said this is my iris, it will detect that it's me or you, and whatever our preferences are and our settings and our favorite applications and things like that will all be right there in front of you.
All right, well, I personally am a big fan of AR over VR because I need to see the furniture I'm bumping into. What about you?
So being a gamer, the VR is I think it's awesome for games and it's awesome for that travel. It's the way to take you someplace that isn't where you are.
Okay.
To take you into some fantasy world or real world that isn't there. Augmented reality is going to improve where you are or enhance where you are. So maybe I did get the opportunity to actually physically go to the pyramids. I could put it on and see all sorts of additional data that you'd normally be thumbing through a brochure or something, but it actually will show up as you're looking at the pyramids or some artifact or something like that. I think there's probably more opportunity in the AR space, but we'll see. We'll see. It's a very nascent, it's a brand new market, it's an exciting market. We'll see where these devices go, and I think Xperi has an excellent opportunity to be taking the lead.
Absolutely. And for you, being a gamer, what's a great VR game you've played recently?
So I'm a big fan of the Oculus Rift. The controllers are really nice. Robo Recall is a good one.
Oh, that one scares me.
That one's awesome.
Oh, that one gives me nightmares.
That's a good one.
That one's really good. What about the climbing one? Have you done that one?
I haven't done the climbing one yet.
You know what? Augmented reality it is for me. I'm just going to enhance everybody around me. Everybody looks so much better with these on. Thanks, Greg.
Does that look better? Yeah. That's great.
Whoa. Hey. Hey.